Hey guys, this is Chris with Tuttle Nutrition. Today we're going to do a little brief segment on some ways you can make your food taste a little more interesting and some of the implications you can get when you add spices and other oils that can be problematic or be beneficial. I'm going to start with some of the ones I personally use. I'm first going to go over some dry spices. Okay, now generally dry spices always contain garlic or onion, which is not a problem for most people. However, sometimes when people start to diet, they tend to use too much dry spices. And sometimes when food becomes less and less abundant in the intestinal tract, you get more contact with the garlic, the dried garlic and the onion, and it causes gas and bloating. So you can't really get around using a lot of spices without garlic or onion, but you can find ones or use less of them. Now, some of the ones that are not problematic to me generally are Stubbs spices. Stubbs, generally, the chicken spice, the pork spice has garlic and onion, not in the first ingredient, a little more tolerable, and they're not extremely high in sodium. You can find them at usually most grocery stores. You just got to take a look, or you can order them online. I'm sure Amazon has them. Amazon has everything. We have Flavor God. I'm sure you guys are aware of Flavor God. Some of these spices are generally not conducive to dieting, like the chocolate donut seasoning. People tend to go a little overboard with it. I mean, the first ingredient in this is honey and sugar. When you're using the serving size, it's not a problem, but if you're using too much, it can be a problem. Again, they have the largest variety of spices, and if you don't have any problems or gas and bloating, this is probably the spice variety to go to. They are a little pricey, but I mean, if you're not using a lot of them and you can get a little variety assortment, you can add a lot of flavor and variety to your food. Other acceptable condiments are barbecue sauce, ketchup, and mustard. However, Stubbs barbecue sauce, unlike Masterpiece and some of the other Kraft ones, have much less sugar. This only has about 4 grams of sugar per 2 tablespoons versus 15. So generally, rule of thumb is if you're 25, 30 calories per 2 tablespoons, serving size is generally acceptable form of condiment, in my opinion, for dieting. Again, don't be eating 3 or 4 tablespoons every meal 6 times a day, obviously within reason, but it's going to add a lot of flavor. You're going to get more variety, and it opens up more choices to learn how to prepare chicken. Because I know some people like to prepare chicken. There's only so many ways you can prepare it. Lower sugar ketchup is totally acceptable. Again, in moderation. Don't be going through a bottle a day. Yellow mustard or Gildan spicy brown mustard or Boar's Head deli mustard, those are all fine. Some of the honey mustards might be a little problematic because some honey mustards have a lot of honey in them, mixing sugar. Again, go back to the rule of thumb. 25 to 30 calories per 2 tablespoons and with condiments, and that would be an acceptable condiment when you're in a dieting phase. Again, consistency and moderation is important, but these are definitely friendly. Also not here is hot sauce. Hot sauce can be used, buffalo hot sauce, and obviously those are high in sodium, but unless you have congestive heart failure or there's any specific reason you're on a medication you're restricting sodium, those are all okay to do. Other things, people get sick of olive oils, so I tell people is you get the infused olive oils. This particular brand has pesto, oregano, curry olive oil, infused olive oil, garlic infused olive oil, and that flavor goes a long way with just changing the flavor. And if you don't like the olive oily taste, which a lot of people don't, these infused oils, you end up tasting the infusion portion of it and not the actual olive oil itself. Now, my all-time favorite oil is macadamia nut oil. This is like, to me, it's like putting butter on everything, but without the poor lipid profile of the fat. So this has a lot of monounsaturated fats, very healthy for you, good to cook with, tastes very good. I go through 2 of these bottles every couple weeks. They're my fave. Another one for salad dressings, people ask a lot. I tend to use same rule of thumb again. 25 to 30 calories per 2 tablespoons. If you mix the salad well, you shouldn't need that, maybe a tablespoon and a half. But this is aged balsamic vinegar. It's very sweet. It's only 10 calories per tablespoon, so you fall into that under 20 calories per 2 tablespoons. Very sweet, very flavorful. I only need a tablespoon for a large salad, provided you mix it up really well together. And if you have an allotted amount of fat in that meal, I would add a teaspoon and mix it together and mix it into the salad like a balsamic in an oil. Highly recommended. And many different brands make them. Some of them are very costly. This particular brand, Ariston's, is not very costly, but with all the high quality flavor, and you can't go wrong. Other spices that I have that I like are Gourmet Collections. They make a line of spices. They're usually found at Marshall's. You can order them online or TJ Maxx in the overstock section. And they're generally very flavorful, but lower in sodium than your standard Flavor God stuff. So overall, this is like the assortment of condiments and spices that I encourage people to use. You gotta think variety. People get sick of eating the same thing all the time, but this is how you keep it interesting. You have endless combinations in how you can prepare it. You gotta keep learning how to prepare things a little differently to keep it interesting. Salt, again, like I said, if there's any particular reasons why you're not restricting salt health-wise or medication, there's no reason to really restrict it, because if you start cutting out salt and reducing sodium, thinking that you're going to lose weight faster, you're making your body more sensitive to salt. So every time you do eat salt, you're going to retain water much harder. If you generally have a consistent amount of salt on a daily basis, your kidneys get very good at flushing out the excess sodium and keeping more of a balance. It's the changes in sodium intake that become a problem. Again, these are the spices, and I hope you guys learned some stuff from this. Take it away. If you guys don't know where you find them, you can easily Google them, find out where your near store locator locates them, or order them on Amazon. If you guys like what you see, subscribe below and follow us on Total Nutrition on Instagram.